The Stone Age was a world of firelight and shadow, where survival meant reading the land as if it were scripture. Every plant, every root, every puff of smoke carried meaning, sometimes salvation, sometimes death. But what if the cavemen who hunted mammoths and painted walls with visions weren't just struggling to eat and endure? What if they were also experimenting with states of mind that bent reality itself? Could it be that the first doctors, priests, and mystics all began with a single question? What happens when you breathe the smoke, chew the leaf, or drink the brew? Were the earliest humans already chasing visions in the dark? Let's find out. In the depths of prehistoric caves, where flickering torches painted walls alive with bison and hunters, something stranger may have been happening. Archaeologists have uncovered blackened residues on cave walls, traces of burned plants not used for cooking or warmth. These weren't the ashes of ordinary fires. They were the remnants of smoke that carried strange effects on the body and mind. Imagine huddled clans gathering in silence while a chosen elder tossed bundles of herbs into the flames. The smoke curled upward, heavy and sweet, pressing against the cavern ceiling until every breath carried it deeper into their lungs. The walls seemed to move, the painted animals stirring to life, the spirits of the hunt leaping into vision. Some argue this was no accident. Early humans, through trial and error, discovered that certain plants didn't nourish the stomach but rather awakened something in the mind. The boundary between medicine and intoxication blurred in these caves. Was it healing? Was it worship? Or was it the first step in humanity's long, tangled relationship with drugs? To understand why early humans might have sought such experiences, we must imagine their world. Illness was a mystery, pain an unseen enemy, and dreams carried as much weight as waking life. Plants were the first library of cures and curses. A berry could feed a family or kill them. A root could dull pain or send visions racing through the mind. Some prehistoric remains have revealed traces of psychoactive substances, suggesting that experimentation was not only common but also purposeful. Chewing bitter leaves of wild tobacco, sipping fermented fruits, or grinding seeds with strange properties may have been part of daily life. What started as survival could have quickly become ritual, and with ritual came meaning. To enter an altered state was not mere indulgence, it was believed to be a doorway. The trembling body, the spinning thoughts, and the sudden visions of animals or ancestors were taken as signs of communication with a hidden realm. In this way, cavemen were not simply getting high for pleasure. They were probing the edge of human experience itself, reaching for something greater than flesh and bone. Among these early communities rose figures unlike the rest, men and women set apart, marked by knowledge of plants, fire, and spirit. These were the shamans, the healers who straddled the worlds of flesh and vision. To the people, they were indispensable, capable of curing fever, easing childbirth, or warding off misfortune. But their power came at a cost. They entered dangerous states of trance, risking their lives to bring back answers. The shaman's cave was no ordinary dwelling. Bones rattled in the firelight, painted symbols adorned the walls, and strange bundles of herbs hung overhead. Before a healing, he or she would inhale smoke or chew sacred leaves, slipping into a state where spirits could be seen and bargains struck. To the tribe, these visions weren't hallucinations, they were reality. If the shaman said he had spoken to the ancestor of the deer, then the hunt would succeed. If he returned pale and trembling, warning of sickness, the tribe obeyed. In these rituals, medicine and mysticism fused. The act of altering the mind was not rebellion, it was responsibility. The shaman carried the tribe's survival on visions wrung from fire, plant, and trance. And in this fusion of survival and spirit, the earliest seeds of medicine were sown. The Stone Age was an age of experimentation, and fire was its laboratory. When plants were cast into flames, their hidden properties came alive in curling smoke. Some soothed, others burned the lungs, and a few unlocked visions that felt like stepping into another world. Archaeologists have found evidence of primitive braziers, simple stone bowls, blackened by years of use, hinting at the deliberate burning of herbs. These weren't hearth fires for cooking mammoth meat. They were ceremonial flames. But smoke wasn't the only path. Fermentation, that slow alchemy of time and nature, may have been discovered by accident. Fruits left in skins, roots soaking in water before long. Early humans would have stumbled upon brews that warmed the body and clouded the mind. Imagine the shock of that first sip, a sweet, bubbling drink that sent laughter spilling across the firelight or visions surging in the darkness. Such brews weren't treated lightly. They were powerful tools for connecting with spirits, for celebrating the hunt, or for marking the passage of the dead into the afterlife. To drink was to enter communion, to leave the limits of the ordinary world behind. And once the secret of smoke and drink had been unlocked, humanity would never let it go. The dead do not speak, but their graves tell stories. Across Europe, Asia, and the Americas, archaeologists have uncovered burials with curious items tucked beside the bones, pouches of seeds, bundles of herbs, and traces of strange pollen. Why bury the dead with plants unless they mattered in life and perhaps beyond it? One discovery revealed ancient skeletons buried with remnants of the opium poppy, suggesting its narcotic power was known thousands of years before written history. Another showed remains dusted with the pollen of hallucinogenic flowers, carefully placed as though guiding the spirit into another world. These were not random accidents. They were deliberate choices, proof that plants capable of altering the mind were valued, sacred even. For the Stone Age mind, death was not an ending but a crossing. And what better way to make that journey than with the plants that open doors between worlds? The grave goods whisper of a belief that the same leaves and roots that eased pain in life could guide souls into the unknown. Not all visions were gentle, and not all smoke was for healing. In times of conflict, altered states may have become weapons as much as medicine. Some tribes are believed to have entered battle under the influence of plants that dulled pain and stirred rage, turning ordinary hunters into fearless warriors. Picture the scene: the beating of drums, the cries of warriors, and the burning of herbs before combat. As the smoke thickened and the warriors inhaled, their eyes widened, their fear melted, and their bodies moved with unnatural ferocity. To them, it was not a fight between men, it was a cosmic clash between spirits. Trance, too, was a weapon of survival. A shaman in deep vision might see the path of the enemy or call upon ancestors for strength. The altered mind gave not just courage but strategy, guiding decisions that meant the difference between victory and slaughter. Thus, the Stone Age medicine was double-edged. It could heal or destroy, soothe or incite, carry a soul to peace or drive men to war. The line between sacred ritual and survival tactics blurred, and in that blur the first battlefield drugs were born. As millennia passed, the knowledge of plants grew into something deeper. What began as dangerous experiments and spirit quests evolved into the roots of medicine itself. The same shaman who inhaled smoke to speak with ancestors also learned which leaves soothed wounds, which roots calmed fever, and which brews dulled the agony of broken bones. It was trial and error, but not random. Observing animals provided clues. A sick wolf might chew bitter bark. A wounded deer might rub itself against certain shrubs. Humans watched, imitated, and tested, sometimes paying with their lives, sometimes uncovering miraculous cures. Yet even here, mysticism lingered. Medicine was never purely physical. To swallow a root was to swallow the spirit within it. Healing came from both the plant and the ritual, from the chemistry in the body and the belief in the mind. These early mixtures and fumigations became the ancestors of remedies still recognizable today. Willow bark that numbed pain, mint that calmed the stomach, and wild poppy that soothed suffering. In the blending of mysticism and survival, medicine was born. It wasn't just about healing bodies, it was about holding tribes together, keeping faith alive, and teaching humanity that the natural world was both ally and mystery. Though thousands of years have passed since the last caveman painted on stone walls, their legacy lingers in surprising ways. Every time we light incense in prayer, sip a glass of wine in celebration, or take medicine distilled from plants, we echo the same practices that began in the Stone Age. The desire to alter the mind, to transcend the ordinary, was not a modern invention. It was carved into our species from the beginning. The shamans who inhaled smoke, the warriors who drank before battle, and the healers who chewed bitter leaves, they laid the foundation for both medicine and mysticism. Even today, scientists uncover ancient traces of these practices, from residues of psychoactive plants in prehistoric vessels to strange pollen sprinkled on skeletons. Each discovery reminds us that the line between medicine, ritual, and intoxication has always been blurred. So, did cavemen get high? The evidence suggests they did, yet not for mere indulgence, but for survival, for healing, for vision, and for reaching beyond the veil of the ordinary. Their story is not just about drugs, but about the birth of culture, belief, and the human need to explore both the world outside and the world within. The cavemen's world was one of smoke, spirit, and survival, where the quest for healing and the hunger for vision walked hand in hand. Their experiments with plants shaped the earliest medicine and left a legacy still with us today. What do you think? Were they mystics, healers, or the first seekers of altered states? Share your thoughts, and if you want more journeys into the shadows of the past, subscribe and join us for the next discovery.